two talking about?
Oh, nothing. Just the end of the world.
Tick-tock, tick-tock.
All right, Clay. Welcome everyone to a brand new episode of Pods the Watchmen, your companion podcast to the HBO miniseries, also of the same name, Watchmen. We are your hosts. I'm Grant.
I'm Clay.
And we're going to be talking about episode 3. Episode 3, which is called, what, do you have it up here? She was killed by space junk, which is a line from a Devo song called Space Junk.
Kind of prescient, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to be diving in and talking about all of that. You know what? Let's skip all the intro stuff. Let's just jump right in.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Yeah, good idea.
So for anyone who's curious, who hasn't watched this or just needs a refresher, maybe you're watching this a little bit later, this episode is the one that features Laurie Blake, a.k.a. Laurie Giuseppe, Jupiter.
I think people have been waiting for this if they watch the previews.
Silk Spectre is back, and this is her now as an FBI agent. We see her kind of on her job as an FBI agent for the Anti-Vigilante Task Force. This is prior to her being tasked with investigating what's going down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So she heads on down there to check out what's going on, and we get to see how she operates in this world. And we know a lot about her history, having read the comic, and some people who haven't, I think, got a good kind of introduction to a lot of the backstory of what happened in Watchmen in this episode.
Yeah, a lot more than the first two episodes for sure.
All right. Well, do you want to do hot takes?
Let's do hot takes.
Hot takes! Let's do it. What do you got?
For me, I think this episode we're kind of out of the novelty. I mean, we don't have squids fall. I mean, we do have things falling from the sky. We could talk about that later.
Still a fucking weird episode.
But this was a weird episode, but it was also kind of just, I think reflecting Laurie's character, which is totally different from the comic book, which I definitely want to talk about. Mm-hmm. This was really kind of like no nonsense, down to business, very serious, very brusque. Not really as humorous as previous episodes, I didn't think. I don't mean to be talking badly about it. I really enjoyed it. But this kind of just seemed to be more of like an investigator's episode. I mean, she's there for a job. She wasn't really particularly happy to go to Tulsa.
Right.
She makes a joke about the fact that it's not Rome or something, and I kind of just thought, okay, we're on the trail, right? Like now the game is afoot. We're trying to find out what's going on there. So for me, and it was also kind of a sad episode because it starts off with her in the phone booth making this phone call. She knows maybe nobody's on the other line, kind of a weird thing. It's like, you break up with an ex or something and then you still call them just to hear their name on the voice machine. You ever done that?
Yeah, it's that kind of sad, or you're like, someone in your family dies and you just keep calling them to listen to that voicemail.
Yeah. Kind of one of those. It was really sad, So I mean, I kind of felt like this episode was really interesting. It was a really good episode, but also kind of no nonsense, kind of serious, also just kind of sad and searching. And that's her character right now. So yeah. I mean, what'd you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I thought that it was a fun breather from I think the first two episodes are great. Obviously, we love them, but there's something a little bit claustrophobic that I started to feel about Tulsa, and it was good to just be able to break away from that a little bit. And I don't necessarily feel that when we get the Adrian Veidt scenes, which confirmation, totally Adrian Veidt.
Yeah.
I don't feel like when we get those scenes that felt all that much less constrictive. But for some reason, when we get the scenes with Laurie out working with the FBI, it felt almost like I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. We're outside in the rest of the world here.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a little bit more glimpses of kind of how other things are operating.
Yeah, it's not the Jim Carrey movie where he's living in a bubble.
Yeah, and then for her to be pulled into this world, it's almost like she's another lens for us to kind of like, hey, we've been seeing what's going on here. What do you think of this craziness? Like, what do you think of how the Tulsa PD is operating in this warehouse?
Yeah.
And just seeing like key scenes like that, I think, were a bit of validation for how we're supposed to feel a little bit uncomfortable about these things.
Yeah.
Rather than be like, no, this is just how that world operates. It's like, no, not necessarily.
Yeah.
That's how Tulsa PD is operating. And we get a lot more clues into why things are different there with the scenes with Senator Joe Keane and such.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I thought it was refreshing to kind of get this change of pace, another point of view character. This was primarily Laurie Blake's episode.
Yeah.
Which feels very... I always got to bring it back, but feels very lost in that
Absolutely.
you take a character and make it a character-centric episode, which is very revealing of them both in the present and what happened to them in their past.
Yeah, and also pretty interesting. I mean, that's what the Watchmen did in the comic book a lot.
Yeah.
So.
But I think this is the only one that doesn't go into an obvious flashback, if I can recall correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think there's a flashback, as we've discussed with Vate.
Right.
His character.
I mean, the flashback here for a Laurie episode, and I think we definitely want to talk about how she got here from there. But a lot of the flashback is going to be in the comic book, which if people have not read it, obviously we want to recommend going and doing that. But yeah, I thought it was a great episode. What'd you think about the acting chops?
Oh man.
Yeah.
So good. I mean, it's great seeing Jean Smart. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
Obviously, she just like fully embraced this role to the point where I'm like, I enjoy the Petey character, but I'm like, you guys she's at a different level.
Yeah,
it just seemed like with everyone else in the room, she's like walking circles around people.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was there were so many ways that could go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize for my voice cracking here. I'm going through changes.
Grown boy.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's so many ways you could do that wrong. You could play it a little bit like maybe 10% more serious, and then it just comes off as fake.
Right.
You play it 10% back, then okay, she doesn't have this urgency and this sense of kind of desperation or just down to business attitude that she needs to kind of make this character work.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just really she's just done it perfectly. So it was awesome.
It is so tricky because I mean, I don't know. We don't really tend to talk too much trash about this show, but there are some things for me watching this that I just groan or roll my eyes, and it is, in particular, it's some of the dialogue that I know is cribbed directly out of that Watchmen book. I'm pointing right behind your shoulder. We have a Watchmen book there. And it's like just pulling those lines directly and then like having some other character say them. So I'm like, I get it.
Exactly.
You're referencing the same exact lines. I think she tells a joke, right? And what does she say at the very end?
Was it a joke?
Well, that's also something we should discuss.
Yeah.
But right at the end of it, she says, "Roll on snare drums, curtains." Good joke.
Right.
And that's basically what Rorschach says when he tells the Pagliacci or whatever joke. And I just kind of went, "Oh, come on."
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't have her say the exact like. But she delivered it excellently, despite the fact that it's one of those things that I'm just like, grown.
Yeah. Well, I've got a joke for you.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. I mean, The Simpsons did it. This is from The Simpsons. So I don't have a joke. The Simpsons have a joke.
Give it to me. You can own this joke.
I think that, Lisa's running. She's running as fast as she can away from someone or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Marge sees her, or maybe Bart. I don't know. Bart's more of a runner, right? Probably got in trouble. He's running. Anyway, Marge says, "Lisa, run like the wind." And then Lisa turns back or something and she goes, "Mom, it's wind." And then Marge yells back, "Oh, I've only seen it written." And I just want to say, we used to say Vate for 2.5 months.
Yes.
And you just switched to Vite on me. And, there was I thought maybe we'd talk about that a little bit. We were saying Vate. We're saying Vate, right?
We were saying Vate. I
So
thought it was Vate.
Literally, we had only ever seen it written. So that joke works.
But I have heard other people say Vite, and I go, are they saying it wrong?
Huh.
No.
Yeah.
It's not me that's wrong. It's the children.
Exactly.
Another Simpsons line for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So it's Vite.
I guess we have Vite.
And he says it himself, so I figure he knows how to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
If that really is him.
Do we want to chat about what's going on there?
Yeah.
You want to do that right now?
We could do that. I mean, we're going to talk a lot about what's going on with Laurie's plot, but let's go ahead and start off things.
Yeah.
Talking about Ozymandias.
Yeah.
And him and his little castle that he's trapped at by the game warden.
Interesting, right?
I think I have theories of what's going on here, but I would love to hear what you think first.
Well, I actually have zero theories about the game warden. I don't know. I'm in the dark completely.
Well, just spitballing. Like,
I mean,
what do you think what has happened?
Do we have some teleportation or something going on? Is he? I mean, what's going on with the suit? Why is the guy coming back all icy? Why does he think that leather is going to work in a sub-zero? I mean, what's going on? Is he teleporting them? Is he transporting people?
Right.
What's going on? And also, how is he doing all this genetic testing yet he's doing steampunk suits and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing doesn't work. I don't understand it. I'm lost.
So, okay. Here's what I think is happening, and this is my concern is that if this is a little spoilery for anyone, because this is just a guess. I don't know, but
Is this your guess
go
or
ahead
Reddit's
and jump
guess?
ahead. I've heard other people speculate, kind of dancing around a similar idea.
Yeah.
But
And I guess we'll say this quickly too. You, I think, read a lot more. I mean, I don't read anything. I'm just trying to watch this, just like when I read the comic.
Right.
I don't know. I just kind of stick to what I have. So
But
yeah.
I do recognize that sometimes you can say some theories, and that's just not everyone's bag. So
Yeah.
maybe jump ahead or pause for a second, then jump ahead on the video.
I want to
or,
hear. I want to
yeah.
hear.
Okay, here's what I'm thinking. I think that Adrian Veidt
Mm-hmm.
was up to some shenanigans, some new machinations, and Doc Manhattan had decided that he failed Earth previously when the squid attack happened, right, in the Watchmen, because of the particles that were put in the air that kind of threw him off.
Yeah.
So he couldn't sense what was going on, the foreboding plan of Veidt. So what he did is he locked him into prison. So he's in this castle thing, but he's locked in something that looks like a castle in a bubble out in space. That's what I think.
Interesting.
I don't think there's much more to the land of this castle that he's living at beyond the bounds of
Than what we've
this
seen.
game warden. And the game warden, I'm thinking, is more like a kind of like a video game
Yeah.
mechanism that
he's-
prevents him from leaving.
He seemed like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that awful? This is also going to be a spoiler. Did you see that movie with Matthew McConaughey? What was it called?
The one where he's hunting dragons?
No, the one where he's like a fishing boat captain.
No.
And it's
No.
okay. I don't want to talk. Hey, there's this movie with Matthew McConaughey where he's a fishing boat captain. I can't remember the name of it, but it just came out kind of recently, and everyone should go watch that bonkers ass shit.
Really?
It's
We should actually pay our hard-earned money for this.
I don't know if you should pay necessarily money. I would pirate it,
Okay.
but it's bonkers.
Really?
Yeah,
In a good way or bad way? I can't read your face right now.
mixed bag. Way,
Okay. Okay.
But I left it enthusiastic to talk about it.
Okay.
I guess that might be interpreted as good.
Best character from a film who lives on a boat. I didn't say shipboat captain. Best character from a film who lives on a boat, in your opinion.
That would be Lieutenant Dan, I guess, from Forrest Gump.
That's pretty good.
Right?
That's pretty good. I was thinking of Keanu from The Replacements. You know what I'm talking about?
You don't even know the character's name.
No.
That's
but
how good that
but
movie was.
That was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
I'm not
but
good with names. You
what's
know
his
that.
name?
I mean, we're
Johnny Utah. No,
What?
that was
No.
that's him from.
Yeah.
another
Okay.
movie.
So we have Veidt. I mean, this is his third year. He is giving tomatoes to the game warden.
Do you think the anniversary is the anniversary of him being in that prison, being in the game warden thing, and there's robots that are his servants, and he's just been like, you know what, I can kill them, and Dr. Manhattan's got a system here that will replace them.
Yeah. Well, that does make sense about, if he is trapped there, why he is using animal skins to
And
try
he's-
to teleport, because that's all he has.
Yeah,
Right.
and so what he's doing was like testing the bounds of this space thing. So I
Yeah.
think he took one of them, put him in this suit, and like tried to launch him out there to see if he could escape potentially.
Yeah.
He's using them as dummies.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
Yeah, but
So-
that's just a crazy guess. It could be something else completely.
Well,
off
and
the
let's talk
wall
about
from
one of
that.
your guesses a couple weeks ago. And hey, I love it. You throw darts, and one of them's going to hit a wall.
Yeah.
Okay? One of them might hit me on the side of the face. One of them might boomerang back at you and hit you. I guess now we know that the owl is not, what's his name? Judd, whatever.
Yeah, Judd Crawford is definitely not. the
Okay,
owl.
so we can strike that one off.
yeah, off.
Yeah.
But we do know. I mean, we've known already because there's this thing called Peteypedia. Did I mention this last week?
You did.
Yeah, Peteypedia is this supplemental material going on with the show that is just a bunch of files, documents online that you can check out. And one of them made reference to the fact that our night owl, Dan Dryberg, is actually in federal custody currently. So that's where that guy's been hanging out, which you end up hearing a little bit about when Laurie's in like making reference, or people are making reference to her about it, like, oh, do you want to get your owl out of the cage? I think
Yeah.
that's what Joe Keane says.
Right.
And that's obviously not just a reference to the pet owl she has in her place.
Oh, it's not?
But yeah, getting Night Owl out of his cage.
That was kind of weird. It was kind of a wham bam.
Yeah.
You know, first we see the owl, and we just now, been waiting for the owl. Now we have too much owl. I don't know if too much, but yeah.
A little overload?
I'm excited to see him come back. I mean, now we might know why Laurie is as dedicated as she is.
Or who would you cast? Who would you cast as the current Night Owl?
You know, I'm not good with people or names or faces or really much of anything. You know who would actually make a good owl?
Who?
Who was the dude in the second Batman who was like the Two-Face guy?
Two-Face in the second Batman? Tommy Lee Jones?
No, not the second. Like the most recent second one.
Oh, Aaron Eckhart.
Wouldn't he be a good one, kind of?
Yeah, he'd be great.
I mean, the guy who
Although he's
the
a
guy
little young,
who was
I
in the
think.
movie 10 years ago was good. Oh yeah, you're right. Duh, I was thinking of the owl like from back then. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Then I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's a good call.
One of our dads could do it.
Yeah.
We don't know. Ostensibly, the owl's been locked up.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So, and actually, okay,
I want to see him with like.
I do want to
long
jump
hair.
into this because this is like, I have points and stuff, and I actually have a diamond next to this one. So this means I only have 3 diamonds. So I don't have a ton of these. So this is one of my diamonds
What does a diamond mean?
that I really want to hit this point.
Got it.
Okay, so Laurie, how did we get?
Are we
From-
done? Are we done talking about Ozymandias?
I want to jump back to him, but
We'll go back. Okay.
Yeah, because this is interesting, and I think it does bleed into the. My question is, how did we get here from there? And I don't know if people have not read the comics. She wasn't always maybe presented or portrayed as the smartest woman, the most driven. She kind of had more of just kind of some family issues, and I wouldn't say she relied on men, but it was kind of almost like you wouldn't really want to see a female character like that these days.
She definitely got short shrift.
Yeah.
In the comic.
Yeah.
As one of the characters, it was just obviously I would chalk it up to being a little bit misogynist.
Dated for sure.
Dated as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But
Well, misogynist in that it's dated. Yeah.
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 And now it's nice to see her as a driving force character who has agency and is like powerful and smart.
An agent with agency.
Yeah, but also showing vulnerability, actually just showing more layers than I think Laurie shows in Watchmen.
Yeah, I mean, Laurie was more famous for shedding her layers.
Yeah,
Yeah. So no, I mean, talking about the owl, right?
Mhm.
I mean, maybe that is how we got here. Maybe she was fooling around doing the superhero thing with him. They then get busted, and she realizes maybe that it was folly. I don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to, that's not necessarily a spoiler, but it's just thinking, how did she end up like this kind of really serious agent who is decrying all this mask stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, I would guess that what also is revealed in the Pedia documents
Okay.
is that her and Night Owl got picked up
Which
by the FBI
Okay.
in '95, I think it says.
Okay.
So if he's still in custody and she's a powerful agent, she obviously played ball with them.
Absolutely.
He didn't.
Yeah.
So to some extent, maybe she even sold him out a bit. And he's
Which
like,
we talked
nah.
about last week, and that would destroy me. But yeah.
But it also seems that she still maintained a certain degree of secrets. Like she didn't tell them what she does know about like how Ozymandias caused the squid attack or whatever, right?
Right.
They don't seem to have that understanding. So it seems like she must have in some way cooperated with them, gave them information, is working with them, and she's very good at what she does, apparently.
She's incredible.
She was ticking off the list of people that she was taking down, including Mr. Shadow,
Yeah.
who was one of these characters we saw in the trailer, and we're like, is this the third Night Owl? Who is this guy? The guy who's going to stop that bank robbery she orchestrated in order to take him down, which is clever,
Yeah.
kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Because this guy's motivation was to help people,
Right.
but also a vigilante, and she ain't fucking around with that shit anymore.
Yeah. Not at all.
But also, it's fascinating because we now see that she's a person who's completely unapologetically anti-vigilante, anti-people taking the law into their own hands while wearing masks. And now we take her and toss her into this world of Tulsa PD where we have the law enforcement wearing these masks.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's put into a position where she's like, I don't know. Do you think that she still has a degree of respect for mass vigilantes in the way they're portraying her here?
She's not playing all of her cards, right? She's not
Right.
showing her cards. So we don't know exactly the respect she has. I mean, I don't know. I think that she's afraid of it, maybe just even personally what it did to her. And she was kind of screwed over by the whole, I mean, her parents were doing it too, you know?
Right.
So I think that's kind of her, I mean, wasn't her actual biological father the comedian?
Yeah.
So she's a tough lady, and we're seeing that now. You know, as far as respect for, I don't know. I know that whenever after the bomb went off, the suicide bomber went off, and she and Regina King are seeing each other through the smoke. They both knew, like, okay, you're for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was a sweet look.
Game respects. Game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she was, you know, and I don't know if she respects the mask element, but she might respect the agency somebody has there to actually do something. But I don't think she can trust them, you know?
Well, I think let's talk about Laurie's psychology here.
Yeah.
Because another element that maybe you're not aware of is that for a time after she was Silk Spectre, while she was still running around with Night Owl, she went under a different pseudonym, Comedienne. That's also in Petapedia's file.
Wow.
That refers to her as going by the name Comedienne. And that's really fascinating. Like all this subtext of what's going on with her.
Yeah.
I think she's in the comic. It already showed that she had a certain hatred for her mother.
Yeah.
She disliked how she was kind of forced into this life of being a vigilante superhero. She resented her for that, but she also hated and resented her father, who she thought was just an abusive rapist. He was.
Right.
To be fair, he's a murderer and a rapist and an awful scumbag person. But obviously, there's something that must have gone on with her that she began to reassess her identity and embrace who he was. That she changed her name to Comedienne in homage to him, and then eventually changed her last name to Blake in homage to him, dropping Giuseppe, spurning her mother, and embracing the father. And I think you can't do something like that without a large degree of self-loathing.
Yeah.
I think that
Or
she
just-
doesn't like herself to some extent.
I think you're right, and she's still maybe. I mean, I don't want to say that someone at that age is like finding herself, but you know, I remember when I was 19, I was working at a toy store, not an adult toy store. This is just a toy store.
Joy.
Yeah, Toy Joy. Here in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
And this coworker of mine, her boyfriend came in, and one week she introduced him as Gary, and then he came in the next week to like bring her lunch or something, you know, and she introduced him as Gray. And she said, yeah, you know, Gary just didn't work for him. He just sees himself more as a Gray. And I wonder if his name is still Gray or if he went back to Gary eventually. By that I mean to say, will Laurie show a softer side and will she go back to Giuseppe? Or, you know, what's going to happen with Laurie by episode 8, episode 9?
Yeah.
She can't just be this because we've already seen the cracks in that facade where she is talking to Dr. Manhattan at the end, just kind of a desperate plea, right? Like, show me something. Like, I'm lonely here.
She has a very tough exterior with everyone else she's interacting with, and
Yeah.
there's something very fragile in her telling this joke. But there's a lot more that's going on there. It's very loaded, the whole exchange.
Yeah.
Also, that whole booth
Yeah.
is run by what's the business called? It's the people that bought out Ozymandias' whole business.
Yeah.
They're running this booth that she's talking inside of.
And she's
trio.
and she's a platinum member.
And she's a platinum
So
member,
she spends a lot of money on this.
which is kind of sad sounding.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would imagine that's like a bit compromising. I mean, how safe do you feel your information is, whatever you say into there, that this company wouldn't also be gathering their own data
Yeah.
on there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would just feel like
They're going to sell you weed eaters and stuff.
you're a federal agent. No better. Don't be talking to that machine.
Right. Well, also, you know, just from what she said, kind of is very revealing of how she thinks about these characters.
Mhm.
I mean, she does look at Dan and say he's too soft. And now she actually might just go a little bit harder with how she's acting just to maybe kind of make up for that, or not to be seen as him. You know,
Yeah.
because, I mean, I guess ostensibly before she was Comedienne, or maybe even with him, that's what, 7 or 8 years together with him running around with fake names and stuff like that, doing her own thing. So maybe she did come to the realization that, he is a little too soft. He didn't kill anybody. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think also the whole comedian thing is not necessarily that they're funny. They're not entertainers so much as they think that the whole world is a joke. Yeah. Everything is a joke. Once you become that moniker, the comedian, you've become so jaded and cynical about society that everything is a roll your eyes joke. You don't take anything seriously. So it's her telling jokes to Dr. Manhattan is a little bit tongue in cheek because it's nothing that she was saying was like landing with a ha ha ha. Nothing was actually funny. Yeah. It's more just like, don't you see the bigger joke of the injustice of society of this whole system, right? Yeah. Right. And yeah, I didn't know that the first part of that joke was a setup for her to move on to the second one and do a callback about the girl throwing the brick up in the air. Right. At first I thought, oh man, she's so insecure that she doesn't know how to talk to him. And also, she's not very good at telling a joke. Well, let's look at this. Yeah. I mean, let's look at this. Like, so this was a series. This episode was a series of setups. The first setup is the joke, right? When she fools us on that. The second one was the literal setup when she's at the bank to bust that Batman wannabe. Mm-hmm. Okay. The third setup was then, I would say maybe when she's talking to, what's Regina's character? Angela. Oh yeah, Angela. When she's talking to Angela, and Angela Abar, when she's chatting with her, and you know that she knows what's going on, or you know that she knows that she took the something off the bust in the secret compartment of the closet. Right. Right. So she really loves this idea that she knows more than other people, and she knows more than what she lets on. Right. So this was like 4 or 5 or 6 different setups that were going on, and so I'm surprised, and I'm curious to see her. Thank you for that. I'm curious to see her when she is, I guess, when somebody gets her, right? Because eventually with that, I mean, we saw with Veidt, you know, he always thought he was the smartest guy in the world, and at the end of the comic book, it kind of falls down around him a little bit. Right. So it'll be, I'm curious to see who's going to kind of have a gotcha moment with her. You know, can Regina do it? I don't know, but that would be pretty sweet. I just really want to see that look of surprise on her. You have a few categories here. Yeah. I wanted to jump into one of them. Yeah. Cats, I want to ask you, what is your favorite or what is your funniest moment from this episode? I didn't think there were a ton of funny moments here. I mean, you're smiling when you ask it, so you obviously have one. For me, it was a kind of a funny moment when she had the sleep mask on. I chuckled a little bit. What about you? When she opens the briefcase? Yeah, I mean that's one too. That was sad though. But it is, I guess. Sad. That was sad. But also, it's a giant blue dildo. Yeah. With a picture of her with him. And then the balls, I guess, are the batteries? And I don't know what's going on, but like weird... it hooks up like magnetically. Yeah. I was looking at that, I was like, oh man, really? They went with that? Yeah, what's going on with that? Well, and then she goes and hooks up with Petey. Which is my dog's name, so that's a disgusting thing for me to hear right now. It's your dog's name. Yeah. She does. And what adult has a name of Petey? That's his last name. Agent Dale Petey. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, that's Petey. Okay, I can get that. But it seems like she might have some nympho element that maybe they wanted to explore in this. That, I mean, in the comic, she's Silk Spectre, who... a part of her identity is that she uses her sexuality as a weapon, right? Uh-huh. Much like you. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Looking at my eyebrows, huh? Woo. But it seems like here it might be that it wasn't just that she's using her sexuality as a weapon, but she's also a very sexual person who might even just like need to satisfy that at certain points. I don't know. She's definitely a lonely person. Lonely. You know, and so if that's a way that she can kind of escape that loneliness for a bit, because she also had, I mean, Petey's wearing a mask. Yeah. I mean, So, I mean, they're both indulging their fantasies a little bit. Which is also like the comic in that Night Owl was impotent. Dan Dreiberg was impotent until he was able to kind of put back on the cowl and take on the persona of Night Owl. And then he felt reinvigorated and that's when he was able to hook up with Silk Spectre.
Just a second here. I can cross off Blue Dildo because you got to it in record time. I was wondering how long that would take you. You can't go an episode or an issue without talking about a blue penis.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
It's not allowed.
But why was there this glow whenever she first opened it? And did you suspect anything like that? I kind of actually thought it might be like a piece of Dr. Manhattan memorabilia or something with that blue glow.
In a way it is.
Yeah. There we go.
I don't know. I thought they were gonna let the mystery linger a little longer with this.
Ooh, leftovers reference.
Let the mystery be.
Yeah.
But when she opened it, it felt very Pulp Fiction, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like we opened the glowing briefcase, but instead it's a blue glow, and I'm like, what is it?
They had some camera angles like that, just when she's walking through the bureau or whatever, kind of it was underneath her as she was. I don't know. It was a lot of moments like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so funny to me because I thought that was one of the best timed jokes. You can't have the initial scene where you open the briefcase and it's this big mystery, only to turn around and be like, it's a blue dildo.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Exactly.
It was very funny.
Yeah. This isn't going to be maybe it advances the plot. I doubt it. But yeah, exactly.
But the reason I brought up the funniest thing, I had a second choice for my funniest moment.
Okay.
And that was right when they are in I don't know what you call that, when Agent Blake, she's talking to Angela is it a mausoleum? What's a little tiny building where like an individual's dead body?
It's like where the guitar was in Coco.
Okay,
a great movie.
Anyway, they're talking in there, and she gives this whole speech about, what was it? She said something about like good guys, that like even this bad guy thinks they're a good guy, and the person that's helping that good guy thinks they're a good guy too.
Yeah.
And I eat good guys for breakfast or something like that. And she says, I eat good guys for breakfast. Only for Angela to look at her and go, ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
That was also hilarious.
Like, give me a break.
Yeah, it was just like, how long have you been working on that dumb line?
And it was actually pretty good until she said, anytime you say,
until she undercutted it.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen, what's it called? Happy
Gilmore.
We've all seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I eat piece of shit like you for breakfast.
Yeah. So no, that was a pretty good moment. But generally speaking, I didn't think this was the funniest episode, but I didn't think we needed that. I think you were right that it was nice to kind of pull the camera back and see stuff outside of just Tulsa.
Absolutely.
So I have a few questions from seeing things from the outside.
Okay.
We see the Washington Monument with this halo around it.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? You got any info from PDpedia?
You asked me a question. I sip a beer then.
It's like, okay.
Which you can have some. This is a brown ale, and that one's a Hellas. They're from Puerto Rico. I don't think they're necessarily that good, but we can drink them.
I don't know. What's our Puerto Rican audience?
Be
careful what you say.
Do they care about this beer?
I don't know.
Apologies. Anyway, I think that what we're seeing with that little halo going around there, I wouldn't be surprised if that's something else related to the Trio Foundation.
Yeah.
That's been kind of building these monuments. We see them point to that other giant monument as we're flying over.
The Millennium Clock. That was another one I was kind of wondering about. And, they obviously repeat the Ozymandias phrase, like, look upon my works in despair.
Again,
whatever,
I'm
right?
like, oh, man, you guys really are...
He did a good...
I want them to divorce themselves from slavishly referencing the original Watchmen comic line for line in that way. I'm like, we already had that when Zack Snyder took a stab at this. You guys don't have to do that.
It worked a little bit. I mean, he saved it by saying, he has a PhD in history, so he wasn't just a fanboy. He was more somebody who has studied it, which, when we see Othello at the end of, that was, I think, Shakespeare's last play, or one of his last plays, and Othello is kind of this wizard or whatever. Is it Othello? No, what's the one at the end? Not Othello. Is it Othello?
Othello? What are you talking about?
What's the last one where you have the wizard guy at the end?
Oh, the Tempest?
Yeah, was it the Tempest? Who's the wizard dude?
Caliban? No, Prospero?
Yeah. Yes.
Prospero on the island?
Holy smokes, exactly. The whole point, remember in like 8th grade English, which I've forgotten, is that was Shakespeare himself. So was Petey Lindelof.
Oh.
Saying he's not a fanboy, he's actually an historian.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Petey is it an acronym for Lindelof? No.
Let me see.
I don't know how acronyms
around.
work. But following that logic, is Ozymandias Prospero on the island?
Ooh.
and Caliban are his robot slaves.
Question, query.
Yeah.
Did he go out in his suit to hunt the buffalo? In his purple and gold?
No. No, he went in his regular riding gear to go do that.
No, but afterwards.
Oh, why? Like, yeah, he was putting it on.
He obviously was just trying to like flex his muscles a little bit and feel like his old self.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, did he go hunt a buffalo in that? That's what I want to see.
He's like, I'm gonna get that fucking buffalo,
Yeah.
even if I have to dress up in something inconspicuous, like
Yeah.
purple and gold.
Right, right.
Not so inconspicuous.
Yeah. He's gonna put a fake mustache on with that.
I think that it's kind of curious that, well, obviously they're dangling, right? They're
Yeah.
dangling the idea of like, who is this guy? Is it Veidt? We're not gonna tell you yet. And then obviously he goes, or Veidt, he goes, sincerely, Adrian Veidt. They even like said, oh, skip the part where they say they're greeting to me because we didn't want to have the reveal right then
You
as they're
think
reading
so?
the letter.
I
yeah.
think that everybody knew that one though.
Yeah, I think they said skip who it is.
No, I know.
Who they
Yeah,
wrote
yeah.
that to. Just
Yeah.
get to the meat of the letter.
Yeah.
And there's no reason because like the time he spent saying that, she could have just said it and gotten to the letter.
Yeah.
But that was just like, oh, we're not gonna tell you even yet, dangle dangle. And then all of a sudden he gets to say the line.
Yeah.
Jeremy Irons gets to say Adrian Veidt,
Yeah.
which is cool.
It was cool.
But then just icing on the cake is him putting on that costume.
Yeah.
It looked good. It was like the classic costume.
Yeah, it did look good.
It wasn't the rubber molded Batman nipple thing that they had in the Snyder movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So did you notice in this episode just the color yellow and how he uses it?
No.
So I've noticed the last couple episodes and I was kind of writing it down this time. It's kind of so we have with Looking Glass. Remember he wipes off kind of the sweat off the brow of his mask and it's kind of this Pittsburgh Steelers terrible towel that he gets, the famous yellow towel.
Well, I figured it's the same yellow mask.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, because he like pulls that out, does that.
Because later he's wearing it at the funeral. He's actually just in a cop uniform with a yellow mask.
I guess I'll say this.
Because you can tell his eyes.
I guess I'll say this. Naturally, if Lindelof just wanted to use yellow, you could have different shades of yellow. But it always is this same Watchmen yellow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So in Blake's apartment, there's like an urn or something on her mantle or fireplace or something. And that's that exact same yellow. So he uses this yellow like on the police cars, the top of the police cars when they did the overhead shot. That's that same yellow. The stretcher at the beginning when they take the what was that vigilante's name out of the bank?
Oh, Mr. Shadow.
Yeah. So the metal on the stretcher was that yellow. So it doesn't mean anything, but it's just interesting, and I like how Lindelof does kind of point back. I know sometimes you don't like how they're quoting direct quotes and referencing stuff like that, but it is kind of cool to see that yellow.
I like visual cues like that.
Yeah.
A lot.
Even the cavalry's flashlight, when he comes out of the hole they had dug.
Oh, was it?
That was that yellow. Yeah. So it was just it kept popping up. I thought that was interesting. I might do a yellow count next episode.
We had a little bit of you mentioned it, the theory of Judd potentially being Adrian Veidt. No, I mean Night Owl.
Yeah.
Right? And why does he have the owl ship and those goggles are those Dan Dreiberg's goggles? But Laurie sees those goggles and is completely unfazed by them. She didn't think anything about those. So I'm guessing those aren't Dan Dreiberg's goggles. They are just some police issue.
He was
goggles.
arrested. And then the police took all of his stuff, and they kind of made it for their own use.
For all police departments?
I think so.
I think they just replicated everyone has an owl ship.
I think it's a fungible thing. Yeah, they either reverse engineered it or said, hey, what's your patent? I mean, it doesn't have a patent on it, but yeah,
Okay,
maybe
that's kind of
maybe he gets time off for good behavior if he helps reverse engineer that stuff for him.
They just have him as a tinkerer down in the basement making a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, he's just hunting buffalo and
is he also?
He's tanning hides.
They're all in a way in prisons. So if we think about, we have Adrian Veidt, trapped in this prison, this cell, and we see earlier that Dr. Manhattan was constructing that same castle on Mars, right?
Yeah.
We see the little kid, Topher, Angela's kid. He's constructing out of a bunch of metal bits that castle as well. So it makes me wonder if Topher is somehow related to Dr. Manhattan, if they're there's a psychic link going on here.
Uh-huh.
Or, peep this, We had, that's gross. I don't know why I said that.
No, it's all right.
We had in the first episode, or was it the second one, where Will says, I guess it was last episode. Old man Will says, maybe I am Dr. Manhattan. And that could just be a funny throwaway line that he's saying. And I'm not saying that he's Dr. Manhattan, but is it not possible that we have seen Dr. Manhattan walking around as someone else?
Does God work through all of us?
What if God was one of us? But we do see they had some discussion in the last episode about like, oh, well, he can't change his skin. Obviously, he has to be blue. But that's not actually true. Yeah. We've seen in the comic him change his skin color to like between lighter and darker blue.
Yeah, I mean, dildos come in all shapes and sizes and colors.
There's no reason he couldn't look like anyone else. And he could be operating as someone else or as multiple people in this show. He's this unknown sleeper agent chameleon that could be any of these characters at any point in time. That if they really want to fuck with us, like Westworld can do it with everyone being a robot, having a robot doppelganger. Here they have this wild card that's Dr. Manhattan.
Do you want to see him, or do you think it would ruin it?
I do want to see him eventually.
Okay.
I think we will. I don't know how long until they pull that trigger.
I would be disappointed if he solved everybody's problems. You know, I would hate that.
I watch The Good Place a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And Damon Lindelof was he's good buddies with Michael Schur, who does that show. And he sat down with him and was an advisor to him on like, hey, I love your concept. Here's some tips on like what I would tell you to do as far as, you know, delivering those hooks at the end of every episode, making it kind of engaging. And I know how you feel. I know you're not the biggest fan of The Good Place.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there's something very fascinating about how quickly paced The Good Place is and how it anticipates people theorizing. And there are certain plot points that they would totally in any other show take seasons to develop.
Yeah.
That they're just like, we're going to wrap this up in 2 episodes, maybe 3 episodes. And by the time you start getting an inkling and you want to make a guess or a theory about something, they've already answered that and moved on to the next crazy question.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if Lindelof is going to start doing that. It was actually very refreshing that he said, this is Adrian Veidt at the end of this in this episode. It was like, there's that dangling thread, and just snip that, we're done. That's revealed now.
I mean, they Spider-Man 2 Far From Home did.
Yeah.
You know, which I like about that too. It's like, okay, we're not going to keep this a secret forever, blah, blah. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if we might see Doc Manhattan in the next couple episodes. Like they don't even need to like keep that until like a series finale thing, I don't think.
No. And that's what I'm saying. I would hate that because I like the machinations, how they're working out right now. If we just introduce this god, I mean, who cares?
Right. Well, I want to keep going in a bit, but I wanted to take a quick break. I want to say, hey guys, if you are listening to this, if you're enjoying the show, you want to help us out. This is the time I do plugs. You guys can go help us out by following us on all of our social media. You can go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating, write a little review. That really helps us out here on the show. You can also go to patreon.com/Pods the Watchmen and make a per episode pledge. I don't know if you know this, but the past couple weeks I've been doing a couple extra things for the show. I've been making some videos, little minis that I'm posting up on our secondary YouTube channel, which
they're
is
really good.
Pods Breakdowns, where I'll go like more in depth about certain aspects. But I also did some little minis that I was posting up just for patrons, where I'm just kind of musing about some other things I've been thinking about. Since I'm here at the recording studio all the time, might as well in my downtime. Just
show off your tie clips.
Yeah. Well, that one's just audio. But if you guys go to patreon.com/Pods the Watchmen, you can go ahead and sign up. Give us $2 a month or however much, but at least $2 a month, and you guys can become patrons and have access.
Yeah, we've definitely loved the viewer listener engagement. You know, I know we're getting more and more reviews. We're getting people are writing. I mean, how did you say that? They're writing into your DMs?
Why you're always talking about my DMs?
I love talking about your DMs. I mean, we did get an especially sweet DM message from one of our favorite viewers/listeners who dressed like Rorschach
Oh,
for
yeah?
Halloween.
Swole sauce?
Swole Sauce dressed like Rorschach for Halloween. I think it was a sweet move. I don't know if a lot of people are brave enough to do that, and he
Here's
did
the
it.
thing. Swole sauce said he dressed like that, and he's a teacher at school. So I was like, oh, you dressed for that like that in front of kids?
Yeah,
That's
no,
hilarious.
he's a real one. Yeah, that was awesome.
That's some dedication.
That
Love
was
it.
really cool. Yeah, no, so we've definitely appreciated the viewer and listener engagement, and I know you're doing a ton of those like midweek guys and stuff like that, kind of keeping it fresh, which I appreciate.
Yeah, been trying a bunch of things. Just it's so fun. This is
Yeah.
my bread and butter. Any kind of show like a Lindelof show where there's a bunch of stuff to theorize on.
Yeah.
I did have one particular rating
Okay.
to read over here. This is from iTunes
Okay.
from Francis Muth. It says the best Watchmen podcast. Thank you. I've listened to all the Watchmen podcasts currently analyzing the book and the book series. This was actually before we started talking about the show. It says, it's a shame Mike, Grant's original co-host, couldn't continue the podcast, but Clay is great. Unexpected addition coming in at issue 4. At first, I was skeptical of his lack of Watchmen knowledge and seemingly aloof attitude.
Yeah, I've gotten that.
I quickly warmed to his dynamic energy, sense of humor, and fresh insights on Watchmen, craft beer, and life in general.
Wow.
Grant and Clay complement each other well, and episodes never drag, even when they go on tangents that may or may not circle back to the original topic.
That happens.
We're happy to go for the ride because while other podcasts are often filled with tedious plot summaries and painfully repetitious exchanges, this one delivers the lifeblood of any good podcast. Entertaining motherfucking conversation.
Did you add the MF?
I did.
Oh.
Sadly, I will be parting. Oh, well. Anyway, just
Whoa,
gonna pick back up.
whoa.
No,
Is
it's
this
just
a selective read?
well, he said he was gonna part ways with the podcast until the HBO series comes on. So
Fair enough.
yeah, until he's able to see that.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Well, that's really nice.
Well, hopefully he's back.
Did we have any questions or anything like that? Any inquiries?
I did get maybe like one or two.
Real
Let me
estate or
check.
otherwise? Yeah.
Yeah, pull that up. If you guys go to Instagram, you guys can ask us questions whenever I
Just slide on into his DMs. I know that tickles him.
quit sliding into my DMs.
If you do it in the middle of the night, he really likes it.
Casey Gerard does say the focus on Manhattan makes me think that he might be a character we've met. Wait, yeah, that's
Wow.
what we were talking about.
Wow. Yeah.
We might have seen him. That's totally possible, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that is
yeah.
possible. I don't know. I mean, I think the thing is, it's so easy. You know, he is like, I think Lindelof has done such a good job. Everything's like with a fine-tooth comb, right? And it's, again, just like how it was so tough for, what's her name, Jean Smart?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, interesting how they used the word smart a lot at the beginning of the episode.
Do they?
Yeah, you didn't hear that?
No.
Oh, yeah. They used smart like 2 or 3 times, and they said smarty a couple times. I don't know. I liked it. Kind of meta. I'm counting
You
the
think
times.
they're making a comment on her?
I don't know. There's something wrong with me. I'm counting the amount of times I see yellow and the amount of times I hear characters, actors' names.
Okay.
I don't know. We don't have to go on about that. But yeah, the way that she plays that role, it could go wrong so many different ways. The same way Lindelof is doing it, things could very easily go wrong. And I just think Manhattan's just obviously you could get it wrong. I know you're just looking forward to the blue penis.
That's all I really want.
Yeah.
We did get another question from Mike who says, who's got the bigger D, Tom Meissen or Don Johnson? I mean, his last name's Johnson.
With a name like Don Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that goes without saying.
But no one can measure up to the dildo.
No.
What in the world? That was a mag light. That was a cop's mag light
That was
flashlight.
hefty, man. It was
the
girth of one of these
What are you looking
bottles here.
down? Okay, yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. Ow.
My God. Hey, I want to get to a cubes moment.
Okay.
Is it time for cubes?
Well, let's jump into cubes.
Yeah.
So explain cubes again.
If people don't know, cubes comes from the green sugar cubes that made multiple appearances in the Watchmen comic book, and I just always loved them. They don't really build the plot at all. They don't do anything for the story, but it's so sweet to just see these green sugar cubes. So the cubes is either your character, moment, memory, anything, any yearning you had while watching the show. That's a cubes moment. So what was your cubes moment this week?
My cubes moment.
Okay, because it's not a favorite moment.
I know.
It's just a cubes
I
moment.
got myself.
Yeah.
My cubes moment was when we were in Laurie Blake's apartment near the beginning. They cut to a scene of her when she's talking to Joe Keane, and behind her is this Andy Warhol looking painting of Dr. Manhattan, of Night Owl, of her, and it was fucking sweet looking.
Yeah, that was
Ozymandias
super
on there.
sweet.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I love that painting. I don't recall this being in the comic itself, but I know that there's a little scene about Andy Warhol making their paintings in the movie.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a notable little bit. I felt like this was a little bit of a nod to that, and I liked it.
It was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, we should maybe get something like that for the recording studio. I'm looking around at where it would go.
Uh-oh.
I think it could go well anywhere.
It can go right there behind the camera. What do you think of that spot where no one can see it?
Yeah. I mean, we'd see it. So funnily enough, whatever. My favorite Cubes moment is also from her apartment.
Yeah?
Weird.
Is it the mouse?
No. It is the Sharper Image vertical CD player.
You saw that, huh?
Did you see that?
I totally made note of it, yes.
The Sharper Image vertical CD player. I mean, that takes you back.
It made me think that,
completely ridiculous.
They have some technological advancements here, and then also they're still living with the Sharper Image CD player.
Because Sharper Image is not even in business anymore, right? I mean, it went bankrupt. Maybe somebody actually kept it going. But that was my Cubes moment for sure. It always tickles me to see a Sharper Image vertical CD player. Why do they have them? What's going on with it?
Do they not have digital music yet in their 2019?
Do they not podcast?
Yeah, what are they listening to over there?
I have no idea.
Devo.
They're listening to Devo. Yeah, so that was my Cubes moment. I guess I just don't understand it. Somebody like her, though, probably would have it because she kind of doesn't care to update all of her stuff. She's like, I got the CD. I'm going to keep using that. It's in this vertical thing, you know.
Yeah.
She has this apartment. She doesn't care.
It was still voice activated.
Let me
and
ask you
very
this.
sensitive.
You know I'm an animal guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was voice. Okay, interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm an animal guy, but I don't really have an owl. Well, there's a better way to say that. I don't have an owl.
You don't really have an owl? I don't know what that means.
I don't really have an owl. No, I definitely do.
Okay. This sounds like a little bit too defensive.
Yeah.
Do you secretly have a
Doth
fucking
protest
owl?
Is it normal? I mean, if we have any owl people, do you usually cover up the bird cage? Or maybe not even an owl, but just a bird cage in general? Or is that animal abuse? I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that.
Maybe it was like nighttime.
Yeah.
But she still fed it.
And then she put it back. Yeah, what's going on with that?
I just figured they wanted to have it hidden.
I don't like that. She's
away during the day on her business. They're nocturnal animals. Cover up the cage.
Okay.
Right? Because the windows, you want it kind of dark.
When she got home, it was for sure dark.
Yeah, she finally got home from a day at work. So she would probably eventually want to take it off. But, for the sake of storytelling for us, they wanted to keep it hidden.
It just still rubbed me the wrong way.
For the reveal.
I like my
owl.
I like my owls free, unencumbered, and get my owl out of a cage.
Let's talk about Joe Keane.
Yeah.
So Joe Keane.
I have a question for you. Is Keane clean?
Well,
is Keane clean?
I have a Joe Keane question for you.
Uh-huh.
Is Joe Keane sound a little bit like joking, which she's telling a lot of jokes this episode?
Mm-hmm.
That's not. Okay, let's go back to your question. My question was terrible.
Yeah, no, I'm Ralph.
Is he clean? I think
Keane clean?
No. I mean, he's already. There's something very suspicious about what's going on. He seems to be playing with the fabric of this system in Tulsa, in that he's using it as his playground to be like, because his dad, very famously, is the Keane of the Keane Act in Watchmen, who was the person who said no more masked vigilantes. Like, that's illegal.
Right.
We shouldn't have any of them. You shouldn't be able to disguise who you are and go out and fight crime and try and enforce the law on your own or whatever. And that was kind of a notable thing that ended it for all the vigilantes in the 70s or something. And now we have his son instituting that the law enforcement can wear masks, and he's a guy that is a figure that the conservative right-wing party really likes. This is their guy.
Yeah.
And it does seem kind of curious that this experiment that's going on in Tulsa might be his meal ticket to the presidency.
For sure.
So wouldn't it stand to reason that potentially he's manipulating things here, and maybe he's in cahoots with the 7th Cavalry?
Yeah, I think this is a false flag. I think this is kind of a false flag thing.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't want to jump from category to category, but I know we also have our gumshoe category, which is whodunit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very likely that he's done it. He's the one who killed. He's the one who killed our chief of police, or at least worked with the people who did. I don't know. I think there's definitely something going on there. He is the power behind the scenes. He's got his eye on the presidency. I don't know. It's really strange. He's not clean. Keen ain't clean.
I kind of don't think so either.
Or maybe we just don't like him because he's successful and attractive and wealthy.
I also don't like those things.
Yeah, you've got 2 of those.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
I am wealthy.
Uh-huh.
And it's very successful. You call me ugly?
Oh! Hey, you chose him.
You son of a... my who killed Chief? I think that's a good question that we should answer at the same time.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm kind of leaning to Adrian Veidt.
Okay. Why would he care about this chief?
Each episode is a year of his prison sentence, of him disappearing from society. And and we see in this episode they had 3 candles on the cake, and he shoves the cake to the ground. So this is year 3. Presumably by year 7, we'll get to the modern day, 2019, and from there we got the last 3 episodes to kind of figure out how he gets off of there, out of that prison, and how he potentially might be messing with things in the scene in our plot, in our world of Tulsa, or if he is a player at all. But I feel like there must be a larger reason why we're seeing his plot at all. And I think that it must somehow play into what's going on here. If it were his intent to try and instigate more racial tensions as, once again, a Machiavellian scheme,
Right.
greater reckoning, and eventually, hopefully, overcoming that, in his kind of fucked up, he's a monster who thinks like, oh, the end justifies the means. Maybe that's what he's going for, and maybe he thought that killing Judd could be the ignition to start that fire. So that's kind of where I'm leaning right now.
Yeah. I don't mind that.
I feel like I talked a lot just to kind of say that.
I know, but I don't mind that.
All right.
I like it. I would like to see him get off his Elba Island. Or where was Napoleon exiled?
Elba, right?
Elba. I would like him to get off Elba and stir some shit up. I don't know. Yeah, that's really interesting. I just don't know. I guess I don't know why he cares. I think you're right. Yeah, if he is kind of just his fingers in a bunch of different pies, just trying to spread disorder, right? Then it makes sense. But is there something with the chief of police in particular? Let's revisit too. What's up with the Klan outfit?
Right. She takes it away. It almost does seem, from Laurie Blake's perspective, that she's doing a cover up for him on his behalf.
Yeah.
And we know she's just trying to investigate on her own. Like, what the fuck's up with this?
Yeah.
Or at least we have no reason not to believe that at this point.
Right.
Why does he have that? Do you think it was there? I think the secret closet's obviously there. Is it an old-timey reminder of his past?
Yeah.
That, I mean, there's people that don't agree with Nazis but have Nazi memorabilia in their house because
What are you talking about?
Some people are weird collectors. Most of them, I think,
they do have a little bit of a Nazi fetish.
have a Nazi fetish.
Ugh.
Not okay.
They just call themselves historians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Petey.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's talk about Petey a little bit, because I did like how he was even though he was being lapped as far as, his acting chops, I did think he was a nice little sweet with the sour that was Blake's character.
Yeah.
He was funny. I thought he did a good job, and I think also he came off as somebody who kind of did know his shit, and he says, hey, I'm not a fanboy, I'm a historian, respect me, blah, blah, and then at the end he gets laid.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe
paid off.
Or maybe they just fell asleep. I mean, I don't know.
They could have just cuddled and fell asleep.
Yeah.
He wore a mask.
Yeah.
He's a good, genuine, wet behind the ears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like honest kind of character that is a good contrast to her embittered, cynical, jaded character that is just sick of this kind of world.
Yeah.
But when Laurie Blake comes in and she gets the details from Judd's wife about like where the warehouse compound is.
Yeah.
They kind of stake it out for a bit. And then she goes in on her own to go investigate. And Pirate Jenny and Red Scare kind of bring her in there. She's looking at like what's going on there, and it felt like fucking Abu Ghraib, didn't it?
Exactly.
It was
Yeah.
all these blindfolded guys sitting in a row with dogs barking just to intimidate
They
them.
jack the volume up, and then but it only does that for 2 or 3 seconds, then it goes back. But I mean, yeah, it definitely looked like, okay, this is somebody from the outside who's discovering what's going on, and she didn't particularly care about citizens' rights because she makes a joke right before that.
Yeah.
Like, actually, I don't really give a shit. Where do
But
I
maybe
go?
that's also to ingratiate herself with Red Scare and Pirate Jenny, right?
Right, exactly.
As they're going to take
Yeah,
her in there.
perhaps. Yeah, but I mean, that was another thing where I think this was the first time where I thought, I mean, and I think he did it for a reason, because we've been kind of leaning pro-cop for a couple of weeks here, and it's kind of uncomfortable for us to do that, but we have been leaning that way, and then you see this, and you're like, oof, I don't know, it's just not a good look for the cops.
Yeah, they're going a little bit fucking wild here. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole situation, it seems like what you're saying, someone is fucking with the system intentionally. If James Wolk, what's his name, Joe Keane, is part of the 7th Cavalry or poking that bear to say, hey, attack the cops.
Yeah.
Then I'll have justification for them to put on costumes.
Mm-hmm.
Them not being accountable because they're in costumes is going to rise that tension on their side.
Yeah.
And there won't be accountability on their side. You guys they'll start attacking you guys. You guys are going to just build up the hate until it becomes something so potent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this was just another stepping stone. And is it not coincidence that he was there being taken captive? And check this out.
Yeah.
Just so, like, such a great parallel to the Watchmen comic that a person who might be the one orchestrating all of this, victim.
Yeah.
Like, when Ozymandias wants everyone to be thrown off the scent of him potentially being the person pulling the strings in Watchmen, he has an assassination attempt. And we see right here another assassination attempt on Joe Keane. Of course, that guy's the one orchestrating a lot of this.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think that Keane knew that his kidnapper was going to be shot through the head. I think that was a wrinkle in his plans, and I was actually really looking forward to him getting into that mausoleum, and then he could say, "Okay, good job. Yeah, you kind of pulled me a little rough there, but I guess you had to do it to make it work."
Right.
And then we didn't get that satisfaction. But that's absolutely what's going on, because he went a little too quickly. He didn't really seem that scared.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He volunteered himself and jumped right in. I'm like, no.
He was ready. He was like, okay, I stand here. X marks the spot. He's going to walk out this way, and then I'm ready. He like cleared his throat before that.
Right.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It just didn't work for me.
So, yeah, it's just like with Ozymandias in the comic.
Yeah.
They got to be doing that.
I think they do. Let me go to another category. Can I?
Yes.
Next to die. If you need to think about yours, I can give you mine.
I have one, but you go ahead.
Pirate Jenny.
I kind of thought that initially.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Just because we haven't seen a whole lot of her, but then
Yeah.
I'm like, why would they give her such short shrift like that?
It's one of those where it's like, okay, they can up the anxiety, up the tension, but not really lose out, because they can't kill the dude in the red suit because he's just awesome to see.
And I assume our next to die just can't include the robots.
No.
Because they'll just keep dying, right?
Yeah.
They're lemmings.
Yeah. They are lemmings.
My person I put was Grandpa Will. I thought that Angela's Grandpa Will, now that they've established that relationship, and now that she has this immediate and what's the term?
She got his money.
Preternatural, is that the term?
Uh-huh.
Emotional connection.
Yeah.
That if he dies, it becomes a driving force for her to discover more about that relationship.
You think she needs a motivator?
Yeah, it could be a motivator in that. Well, she doesn't need it right now.
Yeah.
She's got plenty of motivation.
Yeah.
But it definitely could be.
I just don't want him to die. I like that guy.
I really don't either.
And that's why I thought Pirate Jenny was, because I don't really care about her.
But I like Don Johnson. They kill him. I mean, you kill people to, make people invested and want to have that kind of justice.
You Game of Thrones it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you, Angela Abar.
Uh-huh.
Her last name's Abar,
Yeah.
and I thought that was kind of cool
Uh-huh.
for a personal anecdote.
Please.
Abar, well, when my wife, when I first started dating her,
You're married?
I am.
Whoa.
You don't know anything about me.
Jeez.
When I first started dating her, I didn't have any money. I was in college, and I took her on a couple free dates that she didn't realize we were going on dates because I wasn't paying for anything. That's shitty. But I took her.
What's shitty that your now wife expects a date to be something you pay for? You can't just enjoy a precious moment like a sunset, or
Right.
that you,
What's up with that?
Yeah, I think that's the shitty part. Go ahead.
Yeah. But I took her to this movie here in Alamo, or at the Alamo Draft House here in Austin, Texas. Every Wednesday night they have Wednesday Weird, and they would show different kind of wacky movies from the 70s and 80s and whatever. And I went to Abar, the First Black Superman, which was this blaxploitation movie from the late 70s. And the name Abar, it was this, I don't even really remember the plot very well, but Abar, the First Black Superman, and now her name is Abar. I think I would assume there's some sort of relation between that particular movie.
Yeah.
And her last name being that, but her also being a superhero.
Take back the word and make it a powerful word.
It was a quirky movie.
How was the movie?
I don't know.
Better or worse than the McConaughey boat movie?
She Married Me. Serenity is the name of that McConaughey boat movie.
Really?
Serenity.
And that's how we now call it the McConaughey boat movie.
McConaughey wacky ass boat movie.
Really?
Yeah. Check that one out.
But I mean, you mean wacky as in supernatural, science fiction? Wacky as in like weird camera play? What's going on?
Yes.
Give me another word other than wacky. Give me another word other than wacky.
Surreal?
Oh, okay. That doesn't help me at all, but okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit of like a crime noir, but also
Ooh.
like southern
Okay, you've said enough.
boat.
You've said
island
enough.
thing.
You said enough.
Yeah.
Hey, so as far as names, we also had his horse, which was Bucephalus or something like that, and that is Alexander's horse.
Who?
Veit's horse.
Veit's horse?
Yeah.
Bucephalus?
Bucephalus or something.
Oh, man, I didn't catch that.
Bucephus. Anyway, I Wikipedia'd it,
Okay.
and it turned out it's Alexander's horse, and it's maybe one of the most famous horses of antiquity. Can you think of any other horses of antiquity other than the Trojan horse?
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, my
I don't know.
my antediluvian horse knowledge is limited.
I don't know too much about these horses. What did you think? What do you think overall about that joke that Laurie tells?
Again, it was a setup. We know that. We talked about that. So I think she likes that kind of gotcha play, right? But as far as the joke itself, I think it just kind of revealed who she thinks of these characters. I'm not smart enough to get the whole thing about. I don't know. I think maybe was it maybe she's. I mean, literally, she's saying, "Hey, I'm going to take you in one direction while I have you distracted. I'm actually destroying you with the other hand." Right?
Yeah.
And that she's so good at what she's doing.
It seemed like
I don't know.
some brass balls. I'm a badass. I'm playing 12-dimensional chess or something.
Yeah.
Even while she's talking to someone who literally sees the future, I was like, okay. It really spoke to a lot of her insecurities.
Yeah.
With how she stacked up to some of her contemporaries in the era of superheroes, and that joke being about like how no matter how great each of them thought they were in a particular realm, they're all going to hell. Fuck them, right?
Yeah.
Because they all had some downside to them, but for her, she's taking aim at the crown.
Yeah. Well,
years in advance.
and she knows that the game is rigged, and so she's just gonna destroy the game,
yeah.
right? I mean, she talks about God's brains coming out of his nose, and I was like, I mean, I don't really know. I'm not the guy to ask, but I didn't know that God has like brains and stuff like us.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so I mean, she's kind of wanting to just rip apart the whole thing, which maybe that does mean, okay, right now she's working for the FBI?
Mm-hmm.
She's working for the FBI. We think she's kind of one way on this new FBI camp, and she's obviously different than she was in the comic, but maybe she's fooling us all. And maybe she's just really kind of playing. It's the long game for herself and trying to get Dan out. I mean, we don't know what she's doing, but I do think she's met her match with Regina, and I don't think she's ready for that. And it's going to be pretty sweet, you know? So I'm really looking forward to kind of these like cop moments when they're in cars together just chatting it up, which I think we've seen hints of, right, in previews.
Yeah. It was also really great to see her interaction with Looking Glass, Wade Tillman. Now we get his name.
Yes.
I love Tim Blake Nelson as well. Man,
awesome.
Fantastic actor.
So for me, this goes to show like, yeah, how good of an actor he is. When I kind of, I asked you before, I want to talk about our favorite character to watch. Not really our favorite character, but just who you like to see on screen, right? And he was on screen for what, like maybe a minute? But I almost think he was my favorite character to watch this week because that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Just every little thing he does is incredible. And just the way he hesitates when she's kind of deposing him.
Yeah.
He's thinking about the way to answer everything and not really put himself in a corner or give up too much.
When she mentions like Angela Abar is Sister Knight to him, his look of, do you know that even just saying that out loud, how, like, we're in a situation that for 3 years we've been living in anonymity out of fear in society, and you're just casually dropping those names, doxing us like that. That's really fucked up.
But then he also knows just to say yes because he doesn't want to keep talking about it because then there's more of a chance that more people can hear about it. And also he knows, I don't want to self-incriminate or whatever else.
That's how powerful, like how he was able to sell that in just his expression, his reaction.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think she eventually won me over. I had him written down, and then you'll see this, like, I do like a slash. I'm like, no, Laurie in the telephone booth at the end.
Yeah.
Because it's true. I mean, at the end, we actually finally see the crack in the facade, and she is vulnerable. And it was beautiful to see. And if she wouldn't have done that, I'd kind of been like, the character's a little flat,
I agree. I think that the end scene, like, really tied everything together. It was very intense. There's like some good intense moments, like the bomber coming out, like all of that was like super intense. But her just like the gravity of her expressing her emotions to an empty line, as you were saying, trying to reach out and talk to Dr. Manhattan and not knowing if he's listening on the other end is like, oh, you could just feel all the pain, the weight in her.
Just want to give her a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vulnerability that's there. And then for her to step out of there after the phone call goes, that will reach him in 40 seconds.
Yeah.
And as she walks out, if you time it, it's just about 40 seconds. I think it's maybe a couple seconds over, or I don't know. That as the car falls, it's like 40 seconds from her leaving the booth and walking it out.
That's awesome.
They time it out, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the car.
Let's talk about the car. That's in one of my questions. I think it's probably in everybody's questions. And I'll say this. I have not watched the previews for next week because I don't do that. I don't know if there's any follow-up on that. But yeah, let's talk about the car. Was it a Subaru?
It had to be the same car, right?
I think it had to be the same car.
I didn't compare it to make sure it was the exact same car, but I figured it is. And yet she's so desperately looking for a sign. Her assumption is that that's from Dr. Manhattan. She looks up in the sky and sees an orange glow that she assumes is Mars blinking at her.
Yep.
Like a wink. Hey, it's me. I'm here. And it plays so perfectly into her story about she throws a brick up in the air and times it just so that it cracks God in the head.
Yep.
And God, a.k.a. Doc Manhattan, is like, I can drop something from the sky too. A car right in front of you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's misleading because us, the audience, just saw at the end of the last episode that Will was in the car that got picked up by some UFO.
Right.
And that might just be that car.
Absolutely it is.
So, yeah, what'd you think?
I think you're completely right. I mean, otherwise, Dr. Manhattan changed the whole solar system and the orbit of Mars for a quick second to bring it, trillions of miles closer to Earth to make it bigger for a second and then pull it back. Right?
Yeah, or do some little optical trick.
He
I
could've
mean,
just done an
I
optical trick.
assume it was like a ship kind of blasting away, right?
Right. Yeah.
That was the flare of a ship leaving the UFO that picked up the car.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, she was thinking it was Dr. Manhattan.
Right.
Like actually showing like, oh, this is Mars, anyway. Yeah, no, I thought it was great. So it didn't really advance the plot at all, but I'm curious to see. I mean, I guess Will got out. I was looking for dead bodies in the car or anything like that, Yeah, we'll see. And actually, this goes to show that
there's no body in
this
there.
goes to show that, nothing really happened in this episode. That's my only kind of, I'm not complaining, but I'm really curious to see what's going on.
It set up a lot of chess pieces, right?
Yeah, and it was dedicated to Laurie, which was cool, and somebody who really got no dedicated story really in the comic book. I mean, even when they did it, it was still pretty shitty, and so it was good to have. But man, I mean, I could have used a little bit more plot development.
This single episode, it's still an hour of storytelling.
Yeah,
but I feel it made her particular character so much richer and complexer.
Yeah,
more complex.
Yeah.
Very good.
No, okay. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do you think she will live to the end of the show? Or because you can die. So will she be alive at the end of the show?
I think so.
At the end of this season. I mean, hopefully he does another one. I don't know. Yeah.
I think she's a survivor.
Okay. Do you think Angela will be alive?
Yes.
All of her kids?
Ooh, maybe not Topher.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something weird going on with Topher.
Little Slytherin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Topher's going to pull off the mask and actually be Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, right. Okay, hot hubby.
Ah, man. I hope he does. I hope we get to see more of him.
Petey.
Yes.
Okay.
Man, I think I'm
Looking
an optimist.
Looking Glass.
Yes, I think everyone's going to survive. They're all going to be friends.
You think Pirate Jenny's going to survive?
No, she's probably going to die.
Yeah.
But she's expendable only in so much as we haven't learned anything about her.
What's the red jumpsuit dude?
Red Scare.
What would you watch like a Hobbs and Shaw Red Scare spinoff with Pirate Jenny?
Just Red Scare and Pirate Jenny?
Yeah. Would you watch that spinoff? If it was Jerry Bruckheimer.
Oh God.
Or Michael Bay.
No. Can I say no?
Transformers 12, Pirate Jenny, and Red Scare.
No. I don't want to.
Okay.
Would you?
No.
Was that your last question on your?
No. That was.
Scratch that off.
Yeah, I need to X that one out. No, I mean, I guess. Do you think there's going to be like a giant great battle, or is it going to be more of a battle of the minds?
Or
battle of the bands? Are we going to get a little music?
Like a philosophical threat or something?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we already kind of saw it in, I guess, episode 1, right? Was it 1 or 2 where we had all the cow mutilation, the machine gunning of the cows?
Right.
So I mean, that was a bigger battle than I thought we would see. Really, for a few issues, I thought this was gonna be kind of more discreet, like police kind of like work. I don't know if we're gonna really get a standoff with the 7th Cavalry again. I don't know.
I think we will.
Yeah,
I think it'll be more. It's funny looking at the trailer and finding out that a lot of the big moments I think we recall seeing in the trailer have already happened in the first few episodes.
Right.
So I'm not really sure what's in store, and I'm super excited about it.
Me too. Yeah. So another question would be, or that I have watching a lot of this, like, we've obviously read the comics. You've read a ton more than I have. I don't know if the actual casual viewer has done as much of this. Well, probably the casual viewer's not doing a podcast on it, right? But when we see things like the caged owl, right? Yeah. When we see things like the color, the color yellow, when we see things like quoting directly from the comic book, do you think that is? I think you'd agree, right? That in the comic book stuff was so on the nose sometimes. It was like, okay, I know what you're doing here. But it still worked a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing. Like when we see a caged owl in her apartment, God, it is so on the nose, but it still doesn't seem bad. It kind of works. And it hints at things that we really want to see as fans.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think he does a good job of that, or is it too much?
It's true to the comic, I would say.
Okay.
Which it can be a little bit hokey and over the top at times, but it's fun.
Yeah, I'm just writing this down. I think this might be a new category for us next week moving forward.
What did you write down?
Blue dildo.
What's the blue dildo?
When something is so obvious and you're like, oh God. You know, like I don't know if it works or not, but
it's a real blue dildo.
That's a real blue dildo, that one.
All right.
Yeah.
New category, blue dildo.
The blue dildo that'll follow sugar cubes. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. Did you have anything else? I guess let me ask you this. You've seen the preview, so you can kind of be my spirit guide.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, let me drop that one back really quickly, if you don't mind.
All right.
Do you think this show's going to lose viewers to the show previewing tomorrow or coming out tomorrow?
What's that one?
That one, the kind of like people are thinking it's going to be the new Game of Thrones type thing.
Oh, his Dark Materials or something like that?
Yeah, the Philip whatever.
Lose viewers? I would think that they would stick around for both.
You think? Okay.
I think it might gain. No, I don't know if it would gain more people here. But no, I don't think it's going to lose an audience.
Okay. I know people are waiting for the next Game of Thrones, which isn't going to happen. And maybe if people are watching Watchmen, it's not going to satisfy. That's not going to scratch that itch. I would say this new show will. So I don't know. But I think you're right.
That's really disappointing. I hope not.
I don't think so, but I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's about it, right?
That's all I've got.
Folks, want to thank you guys for checking out our episode this week. If you guys watched us live, thanks for checking us out here live. We do live streaming of all of our episodes over on YouTube. You can go there and subscribe. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can help support us by giving us that 5-star rating on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Write a little review. We'll check them out and maybe occasionally read one here on the show.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to help us out financially, please go over to patreon.com/Pods the Watchmen. There you can make a per month pledge. Give us a couple bucks a month and help support us. And we do little extra bonus material for you guys exclusively to just show our thanks for you guys helping us out.
Yeah.
We will be back next week talking about this show. We're going to probably do another little live show. I wouldn't imagine why not. And we look forward to it. Until then,
what do you like to say? Who keeps podding watching?
We'll keep watching. I don't know what I said. Was it we'll keep watching?
We'll keep watching.